All right, guys, now I'm back to work on these things. So I've been waiting, about a couple days, and actually it's been like 4 days already. It's already Wednesday right now, and I ordered everything probably Saturday. I ordered the marquees from New Zealand have already arrived, and the artwork from California should arrive tomorrow or Saturday, I believe. So I pretty much have everything I need for right now, minus the artwork. So I've got everything that I've ordered has already arrived. I've got the Pico fighting boards here. So those are going to be the coders I'm going to use. These are the USB cables that I'm going to use with the Pico fighting boards. These are pretty cool. These connect via micro USB. My buddy here, recommended them for me. I found these on eBay. These are the last two he had. I don't know if he's probably going to have to make more, or maybe he can't make more right now, with all the chip shortage stuff. But these are $25 a pop. So I've got two of those. This is about like, $10 for USB cables. These are about $15 a pop. These are the fighting board cables of Brooks. And it pretty much has the whole kit for you ready to go. So you don't have to do any splicing. Just pop it in and connect everything properly. I've got 4 of those. These are the Sanwa buttons. I went with the light blues, so I bought 2. I'm not gonna buy the others yet until I test these out to see if I like them. I might just try a different thing if I don't like them. These are the DVI to HDMI converters, because I'm still running on the originals, and the originals only have DVI and VGA outputs. So this will allow me to connect it to my Raspberry Pi. This is the official locks. Pretty much they're the same locks that I use, because I've got to replace all the locks on this anyway. So I've got the locks for them. And then these are the official, these are just the amps that I bought. These are going to be much better amps that I'm going to be using. So that'll be cool. Now, I'm going to take all the JAMA stuff out of there, because it is a JAMA harness from what I've seen other videos. It's just a very, I wouldn't say it's that good of a harness, honestly. At least for me, I want to go with a much better harness. So I'll probably get a much better JAMA harness down the road if I ever want to go that route, but I probably won't. It's probably going to just be a PC build throughout for both of these. As far as, I'm going to replace the power strip. I've seen other videos of a guy doing that. I'm just going to put a standard power strip in there and call it a day. And then what else will I be doing? I'm also going to be replacing the power supply in there for the coin mechs and all that stuff. So I'm going to replace the cheap one. I'm going to use it for now, but I'm going to replace it and put a better, like a half power supply or something. And that would be much more reliable. I'm not going to be worried about it catching on fire. And then I'm going to do all the wiring for that. So let's go ahead and get started. So I tried out the locks that I bought. Comes with keys, but they're all keyed the same way, I believe. And just put one in there for now. Works perfect. Just a quick update, guys. So I've got the artwork now. I'm starting to put back the artwork. Adding some LED lights in there. I've added the wiring for this. It's pretty straightforward. I'm actually slight red-green colorblind. Not as severe, but I am a little bit colorblind. So I had to go to a different diagram for the Brooks to set these up. But I understood how they're just like punch 1, punch 2, punch 3, punch 4, 1 kick, 2 kick, 3 kick, 4 kick. That's how they designed the Brooks, honestly. If you go that route, it's much more easier to understand. Top is blue, then it's red, then it's green, then followed by green. It's this color over here. And same thing down there. Bottom orange, yellow, green, and then there's one more that goes with that one that I haven't plugged in. It's gonna be the black, I believe. And then up here, start is white, select is gray. And then for the Brooks type, well, this is a Pico board, but it's the same thing as a Brooks. The home button for like the Switch or the PlayStation 4 is gonna be the gray. So that's your entire button setup for Brooks. Pretty straightforward. So I've got these hooked up. They hook up to USB minis, which I like. They're hooked up to a Pico board, and it's all set up. And so it makes it really easy. The wiring is very easy and straightforward. Just a few wires that I have left over that I won't be using. But the Brooks harnesses are perfect. I can literally just, you know, once I organize everything here properly, I can just put some zip ties, some Velcro to make this stuff sit in the place that I want it to sit. The only thing I will say about the Brooks fighting harnesses is for these Vewlixes, it does stretch out the wiring. Like I honestly, I could splice this and make it a little bit longer, but I don't want to. Kind of want to keep it like this for now. I found a kind of good position right there to keep all the wiring and make sure it doesn't get in the way when I drop it. Here's the locks already. I already put the new locks. I found out that these are actually 1080p monitors. I was testing it with my Pi, and it actually is a 1080p monitor, so I've lucked out. For now, I'll just keep the 1080p. I know they're not the best. They're probably like 60 hertz monitors, but when I go with a full PC build, then I will actually go the, you know, the 100 and what is it? How many hertz? 160 hertz or whatever hertz. I'll go overkill for sure, like 4K screen. I really wish they came out with an OLED 32-inch screen. That would be the best thing ever for that high contrast and the true blacks. But I'll keep dreaming. I might hold out a little longer for an OLED down the road, hopefully that they design. If not, I'll just get a really good gaming monitor to go with there. And right now I'm going to set up with the Pi, and then I'll get the PC down the road, but at least I'll be able to play it for now. This all feels really good. Of course, it's very clicky. If I want the really silent stuff, much more expensive, but this is all Sanwa. I've still got to get these buttons here down the road. I'll set them up later, at a later time. Like I said, here's the start button, but I have it all the way up there right now. I'm going to get a different control panel there down the road. I found some Parts Express 3-inch speakers that work perfect for this. That way I get better sound quality, and I can throw those out too. What else am I going to do? I got the acrylic, so I got all the artwork for everything, so I'll be able to set up the artwork finally. I'm going to leave the JAMA harness in there, just tucked away, even for someone down the road if they really want it, but honestly, just better to get a brand new JAMA harness for whoever wants it. But I'll just leave it there because it has all the connections for the coin door and all that. I'm going to take out that 5-volt power supply because I won't be needing it. All the lights are going to be running off USB anyways, so I'll remove all of that stuff. So I'll have it much more clear too if I want to put consoles. Because quite honestly, most people put consoles or they put PCs in here or Pis. And that's all you really need this for. You don't want to really make this a true arcade unless you find a Title X system set up. But I mean, it's just a PC with front end for strict arcade experience, like a very authentic one. But I don't honestly need that. But let's go on and continue. So no joke, it really is a 1080p screen. Now I'm playing it on the Pi 4, but it works. I think I have to start button over here. There it is. There we go. We're ready. All right, guys, I figured I covered this. So I've originally finished that one. That's running a Retro Pi 4 system in it. I can play MVS2 and a bunch of other cool games. It's running a Recall box, so it's good to go there. But for this one, what I am going to do is I'm actually going to set it up with an LG monitor here, 32GN600. This will fit in there perfectly. It is a monitor that has a really good refresh rate, 165. I'm never going to probably use that, but I mean, the delay, one millisecond blur reaction. I mean, this thing is really, really good. It was on special at Walmart for 200 bucks. Now this is running a GTX 2060, and it's running a Core i5 11th gen with 512 gigabytes of memory and 8 gigabytes of RAM, which is a very good solid setup to play Street Fighter 5, Tekken 7. I mean, I don't need more than that. So this thing is good to go to play any of the modern fighting games with this high-end monitor, and it's going to be like really snappy. So I decided to go that route, and I got this for a really good deal locally for like $350. I got the whole case, everything together with an extra mouse and keyboard for $350. That's an amazing deal. So I'm doing this on a budget, but it's been a lot of money, honestly, to get these to where I want them to. And I still need to buy the speakers. The higher end speakers from partsexpress.com, they're like $12, $13 a piece, and there's 4 of them. So it's almost $100 in speakers to get these updated to nicer speakers. The control panels, each one of the Sandwell control panels is like $40. So that adds up really quick. 80, that's 160 in control panels alone. And then we're also talking about the artwork. The artwork's about $30 plus shipping, so that's about almost $80 to $100. I got the top acrylic from a guy out in New Zealand. They're not expensive, they're only like $30, but the problem is shipping is expensive. So that was like $120 getting them shipped, both of them, because I have the one there. And then the Brooks fighting harness, those are like 15 a pop. There's 4 of them. That's 60 bucks right there. And then there's the Brooks fighting boards. You know, I got the Pico ones in there right now, but I'm gonna get Brooks fighting boards so I can see what the difference is between them, and it's pretty much the same probably. But those are like 25 a pop, the fighting boards. So the money really adds up right away. But I mean, I figured since I want these to be like my forever machines, that I won't, you know, that I want to put good parts in them, so I might as well get the initial cost of it out of the way, and I don't have to worry about any issues with them down the road. But for sure, it's quite an investment to get one of these up and running if you want to do it the right way. And I'm only investing in 1 monitor. If I wanted to buy 2 monitors, it's like $400, because this is brand new. I got it on special from Walmart. They had a Black Friday deal, which was $200. So normally they're like more than that, like $260 or something like that. So, and thankfully they already have 1080p monitors, but they don't have the best specs on them, of course, you know, because it's just Chinese knockoff. But regardless, I'm going to be able to do this setup, and it's not that hard, honestly. Just hook up the connectors and you're good to go. You know, the only thing I have to do is swap out the monitor, and there's a funny way that you fit this monitor in there to fit perfectly, so I'll probably show that. All right, for those users how to access the monitor, you remove this bolt here on the bottom, which loosens this bottom half. You loosen this bolt here, and it pops out this section. And that gives you access to this bolt here. That removes this, and this will get the entire section out. That way you can get access to it and do what you got to do. So it's pretty easy. All right, guys, so you remove 4 screws here in the back, on the sides here, and that removes that cover with the glass. And then to remove the actual TV, the original, is these 4 bolts here. That will give you access to remove the entire panel here. And then we're gonna have fun trying to put the new one in, because if you look here, the bracketry is all different. So we're gonna have to figure out a way to make it fit in there. You know, the old school Home Depot, Lowe's, MacGyver technique here. It probably is gonna fit in there snug, but it's not gonna fit in there like bolted down, unfortunately. But because of that housing, it won't shift. But we'll figure it out. All right, guys, so I removed the brackets from the original TV, that bracket. And that's just to push the TV forward, because you need it to be forward, or else you're gonna have like an inch of gap from the bezel to the TV, and you're gonna be able to see inside. It's gonna look all bad. Plus, this will keep the TV kind of straight, because it's if you throw it in there without that bracket, the TV's gonna sit kind of at an angle, back angle, and that kind of makes sure it stays straight. And that you just remove it from there. There's 4 bolts on each side to take it off of there, and then you stick it on here. So you're gonna have to do that. Now the other thing we're gonna have to do is figure out a way to stick some spacers in here that will match. That way this is centered, and stick spacers down here so that it will be at the right level. So I'm gonna have to figure that one out here shortly. Pretty much figure out your spacers for bottom and top, and it's gonna be sandwiched in there anyways, and it won't move after that. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, guys, so I'm gonna show you the monitor is fully intact in there. You see it fits perfectly fine. For what I ended up doing though is, as you know, this is the original bracket from the original TV that I took off, and that's just to kind of push the TV forward because it sits too far back if it doesn't have anything. And then what I ended up doing down here is you can see that I put some, I had some of these spare rubber feet from like a display that I took apart a while back. So I put some washers and a bolt and a nut there and just kind of leveled it out to the height. And there's extra holes here for you. So you can just choose any of these holes here to kind of leave it at the height you need to, because it sits too far down. So you got to kind of lift it up to the right height. And then as far as the top, because the bottom is thicker and the top is thinner, it kind of sits back. And so there's a big gap up top. So you kind of want to to get flush with the bezel in the front. But thankfully, this bracket has holes up there that you can use. So what I ended up doing is I ended up using a bolt and a nut, and then just tighten it, and then it will push forward the monitor. Now I did put some padding there. You can kind of see the clear padding that I put in there. So I put that padding in there just to make sure that it won't damage the screen long term. So that padding is there to protect the monitor from getting, you know, because over time, if you have metal and contacting on plastic, it'll wear it out. Now, because it's pushing up against the front of the bezel there, what's going to happen is it's going to lock it in place as well. So this isn't moving anywhere. So while I was adjusting it, I kind of made it, I turned on the monitor, and then I would move it wherever I needed to, left or right, to make sure it's centered. Once it was centered, then I tightened it up there by hand, and I was good to go. I mean, that's pretty much all I did. And so now this monitor sits in there flush. So you can see there's no space between here on the sides, and it sits flush and perfect in there. So it's good to go. And I just did it, you know, MacGyvered it that way. And there's the original monitor there. I just took those back plates down here. And I'm pretty sure you can do this with several other monitors as long as they're kind of like the same dimension as this LG. But now I got a high-end monitor in here, and it's good to go, and it looks like original. So I want to show you what I'm doing here. So these are the Dayton Audio 3-inch speakers that are going to go into the Chewlix here. So these are 50 watts, rated for 50 watts RMS. I'm going to remove the original connectors and put brand new wires, and these are going to be in the back now. So this is much better, so I can put thicker gauge wiring, so I don't have to worry about anything of that cheap stuff. And then this is an actual amp I found also online. So this has for 250 watt speakers, and then it also has for 100 watt passive subwoofer that I can connect to it. So I can grab one of those wireless subwoofers that I have over there extra and hook it up to this, because a lot of those wireless subwoofers are rated for 100 watt RMS. So this thing is beefy, and so I can just install it, and I'll have 150 well, 200 watts of power through this little thing here. So this is perfect. I failed to realize this, but these speakers actually don't fit. Those holes on the spacings don't fit. So what they ended up doing on these Chinese knockoffs is they just let them sit like this sideways, and they let this plate kind of push against it there, and that held it in place. It wouldn't move because it had to come off with this, had to come out. So it was just sandwiched in there. So this doesn't even fit in there properly. Now these that I just bought do fit in there properly, and I just installed one in there, and it's perfectly in there, and all of it's bolted in, so it's even really tight in place. So this is a good upgrade. Alrighty guys, the next day, there's a big mess, took off all the speakers, but there you go, there's a speaker there. I hooked up the terminal, hooked up the wiring to it, and it works. You know, it picked up, and it really can handle a 100 watt passive speaker on it. I'm running a 12 volt 5 amp power supply to it right now, just as a test, to see if it can handle it. It's not hot or anything, so this will work. You can run between 12 and 24 volts, and as much amperage as you need probably to make sure it doesn't overheat or mess with the power supply, but it works. I just have it hooked up there as a test. It's all wired in right now, and you know, it's such a little board. I've already put all the knobs and everything on there. Right now it's a mess with all wiring because I've been messing with a bunch of things here. But I tested it, so it has a Bluetooth capability, so I can hook up my Bluetooth, or you can hook up Bluetooth to your PC. So you can hook it up to your PC via Bluetooth, and you don't have to wire it up or anything. So that's a good feature. I tested it with my phone; it worked fine. These top speakers are really loud. The bass, so I can fit the bass subwoofer in there, no problem. So that'll be good to go. And I mean, I think this is going to be an amazing setup, amazing sound. Controllers are up to date. I've got a PC hooked up to it, but it's coming along really well. So is this one. I just spliced into the power supply for this one as well. It's running Tekken 7. All the artwork's already in place. So this one's coming along really good too. So I'm almost there, a little bit more work, and then I'll be good to go on this one. But here we go. Hooked up to the subwoofer, the beefier speakers, and the little bitty amp that powers it all. It can get real loud too. Look what. Sounds pretty good. Alright guys, next step is I bought some new fans here. 120 millimeter fans. These are supposed to be much more quiet than these and blow more air. These are 2 pins. Now they are a different connector, so I'm going to have to splice them in. You know, just cut them and splice in the different type of connector so they can work. But it's just a positive and negative. Very easy setup. These tend to make a lot of noise. Like you can even hear it a little bit. The bearings are going bad in here, so better just replace them. But these are going to be really quiet in there, and that's the only thing I really have to do. I've already put the sound system. I have a PC. I have all the controllers set up. So this is the last thing I got to do, replace these fans so the system will sound nice and quiet. Alrighty guys, so got the flash on here. So I finally organized everything. So I took the PC apart and bought this off Amazon. They've been on sale recently. It's this little chassis. It requires a lot of adjustment to fit these on there. They're not easy to build, but once you build them, they're sturdy. It's a bunch of aluminum chassis and it's floating on top of it. And but I've got the graphics card, power supply, and the buttons here. So later on down there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this wire and extend that out and put a switch up here to turn on the PC manually from up here, so as opposed to opening the door to turn on the PC. And I'll probably do the same thing for that down the road. There's an option for you to put a switch on it. But the amp is good to go. All the wiring, the sub, this is a Vizio sub, and it fits perfectly right there in the back. No problem. All the wiring's kind of been organized the best way I can do it. This fits in there like a glove. Barely enough space for you to close the front and the back door, and that's due to this door being hollow. As you can see here, it gives you that extra ½ inch to make sure this fits. Even though it's sticking out, it'll fit. I've already done the test fit on it before I put it all together, and it pretty much fits like a glove back here. So this is all the wiring. This is a passive subwoofer here that I've converted. It's a Vizio sub, but I've converted into a passive sub. And it runs out to that amp down there. So this is all the wiring. All the wiring is now hidden in here. And then it comes out here. And so everything is set up now for this thing to work. And you can see you don't need too much to, to do here. But what I wanted to do was make this a all-in-one. I didn't want a cabinet sitting out here or anything like that. Because I see a lot of guys that will build these. And unless you have the, the Type X system that'll fit in there perfectly, you have a PC and it's on the outside, or you have a console maybe sitting in there. But most of the time you have, like, if you're going the PC route, you'll have the PC outside of the cabinet so you can hook it up to. But now this one's all integrated inside of it, and so I can play this. I still have to secure that later on down the road to the board, that way it won't move around if I move this thing. But for the most part, I've got everything set up in here to where I can turn it on and play from my PC, everything good to go. I've replaced the fans, and now the fans are much more quiet. You can still hear them, but they're much more quiet. Everything's good to go. What's going on, guys? So we're at the end of the video finally. These have been all set up, ready, good to go. And they're in a playable state now. And so, as you see my boy there, he's playing Street Fighter V. Plays amazing, plays great, has awesome sound, bass, everything in it. And then I have the other one down there done too. It doesn't have a subwoofer in it, but has the upgraded speakers up top, so that's good. And then all the artwork's been put in its place. The white, I went with the white sand one, and the light blues over here. I might end up putting the whole 4 button setup on this one too later on down the road. That one's running a Pi right now, but the Pi is having issues with the video output. It outputs at a weird video output, and so it won't let it load into the recall box software. But regardless, this one's really running on a PC. I've got the PC in there now, so it's all in one in there. I showed you that earlier. So this thing is in amazing shape. So the only thing I got out sticking out of it right now is just the mouse and the keyboard for now. I'll probably get wireless ones later on down the road, and then I'll probably stick them in the back or something with Velcro. So if I need to pop them out, I can just pop them out from the Velcro. Good to go. But I mean, it was great working on these, learning a lot from these. I never owned a similar setup, so I'm still going to be doing a lot more stuff with the arcades. But I figured for this video, at least I show you the end product of how good you can make these look, and doing all the little mods. And there's so many more mods you can do these. Like, it's unbelievable how much the community has for these, like the different panels, the metal panels here. I want to get a knob for the volume, so I can do the knob for volume here. Also for the PC build, I need to put a power button, a reset button for the PC build. And I mean, there's just so much you can do with these. But this one is gonna go, actually. It's gonna go to a YouTuber. He's probably gonna do a video on it, so you'll probably see it. He's a pretty well-known YouTuber, but he lives close to me, actually, which is kind of funny. And he had seen one of these, and he's like, hey, I want to buy it. And so I was like, well, let me get it all nice and ready for you, because this one's just ready, plug and play, and good to go. I just put a Pi in there to just kind of show that it's working, but has everything set up. You can just drop them in a PC, a console, whatever, and you're good to go. But this is awesome hobby. I'm glad to be doing this, and I'm really happy to finally have a candy cab. I'm still going to be searching for an Astro City, one of the older vintage CRT candy cabs, which are very difficult to find. But I know I'll get one eventually, and I'll have a modern candy cab, and I'll have one of the older retro candy cabs to go with it. But again, guys, thanks again for watching the video. Hope you guys enjoy the end product. And if I do more mods in it, I'll cover more videos on it so you guys can see what other mods I do to these, because there's so much you can do with these. And I mean, for now, I've got them up to date and modernized, but there's always so much more as new technology comes out. Like, let's say tomorrow they release a 32 OLED screen for these. That's going to be an immediate want to get for these. OLED would be like the best thing to get for these. It'd be amazing to find a 32-inch OLED screen. Let's hope LG or Samsung, one of these other companies, decides to do that down the road, and we'll have an even better setup. But regardless, guys, I hope you guys have a good one. Thanks for watching.